Okay, we're on Deuteronomy chapter 5. And Moses called all of Israel and said unto them, Hear, O Israel, the statute and judgment which I speak in your ears this day, that you may learn them and keep them and do them. And the Lord your God made a covenant with us in Horeb, and the Lord made not his covenant with our fathers, but with us, even us, who were all us were alive this day. And the Lord talked with you face to face on the mount out of the midst of the fire. I stood between the Lord and you at that time, to show you the word of the Lord. For ye were afraid by reason of the fire, and went not up unto Mount, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. Thou shalt have none other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters beneath the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself unto them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. I will show mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it, as the Lord thy God hath commanded thee. 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, nor thy sons, nor thy daughters, nor thy maidservants, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy ox, nor thy ass, nor any of thy cattle, nor the stranger that is within thy gates, that thy manservants and thy maidservants may rest as well as you. And remember that thou wast a servant in the land of Egypt, and that the Lord thy God brought thee out of thence through the mighty hand and by a stretched out arm. Therefore the Lord thy God commanded thee to keep the Sabbath day. Honor thy father and thy mother, as the Lord thy God hath commanded thee, that they may be prolonged, that it may go well with thee in the land in which the Lord thy God give thee. Thou shalt not kill, neither shalt thou commit adultery, neither shalt thou steal, neither shalt thou bear false witness against thy neighbor. Neither shalt thou desire thy neighbor's wife, neither shalt thou covet thy neighbor's house or field, or his manservant or his maidservant, his ox or his ass, or anything that is thy neighbor's. Those words the Lord spoke unto all your assembly in the mount out of the midst of the fire, out of the cloud, and out of the thick darkness, and out of the great voice. And he added no more. And he wrote them in 2 tablets of stone, and delivered them unto me. And it came to pass, when ye heard the voice out of the midst of the darkness, for the mountain did turn with fire, and ye came near unto me, even all the heads of your tribes and your elders. And ye said, Behold, the Lord our God hath showed us his glory and his greatness, and we have heard his voice out of the midst of the fire. We have seen this day that God doeth talk with man, and he liveth. Now therefore, why should we die? For this great will consume us, if we hear the voice of the Lord our God any more than we shall die. For who is there of all flesh that hath heard the voice of the living God speaketh out of the midst of the fire, as we have and live? Go thou near, and hear all that the Lord our God shall say, and speak thou unto us all that the Lord our God shall speak unto thee, and I will hear it, and do it. And the Lord heard the voice of your words, when you spoke unto me. And the Lord said unto me, I have heard the voice of the words of this people, which they have spoken unto thee. They have well said all that they have spoken. Oh, that there were such an heart in them, and that they would fear me and keep my commandments, saying, that it might be well with them and with their children forever. Go say to them, get you into your tents again. But as for thee, stand thou here by me, and I will speak unto thee all the commandments and statutes and the judgment which thou shalt teach them, and that they may do them in the land which I give them to possess it. Ye shall observe to do, therefore, as the Lord your God hath commanded you. Ye shall not turn aside to the right hand or to the left. Ye shall walk in all the ways which the Lord your God hath commanded you, that you may live, and that it may be well with you, and that ye may prolong your days in the land which ye shall possess. We're on chapter 6. Now these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgment which the Lord your God commanded to teach you, that you might do them in the land whither you go to possess it, that thou mayest fear the Lord thy God, and keep all his statutes and his commandment, which I commanded thee, thy and thy sons' sons, all the days of thy life, and that thy days may be prolonged. Hear therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with thee, and that ye may increase mightily, as the Lord God of thy fathers hath promised thee, in the land that floweth milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and thou shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine head, upon thy hand, and they shall be a frontlet between thine eyes. This is those little bitty tiny things that they wear on their forehead, and it has a Bible verse in it. And thou shalt write them upon the post of thy house and on thy gates. And it shall be when the Lord thy God shall have brought thee into the land which he swore unto thy fathers, and to Abraham, and to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give thee great goodly cities which thou biddest not, and houses full of all good things which thou fillest not, and wells digged which thou diggest not, vineyards and olive trees which thou plantest not. When thou shalt have eaten to be full, then beware lest thou forget the Lord, which brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. Thou shalt fear the Lord thy God, and serve him, and thou shalt swear by his name, and ye shall not go after other gods, of the gods of the people which are round about you, for the Lord thy God is a jealous God among you, lest the anger of the Lord thy God be kindled against thee, and destroy thee from off the face of the earth. You shall not tempt the Lord your God, as ye tempt him in Manasseh. Manasseh. All right. Ye shall diligently keep the commandments of the Lord your God, and his testimonies and his statutes which he hath commanded thee. Thou shalt do that which is right and good in the sight of the Lord, that it may be well with thee, and that thou mayest go in and possess the good land which the Lord swore unto thy fathers, to cast out all thine enemies from before thee, as the Lord hath spoken. And when thy son ask thee in time to come, saying, What meaneth this testimony, and the statutes and the judgment which the Lord our God hath commanded you? Then thou shalt say unto thy son, We were Pharaoh's bondmen in Egypt, and the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand. And the Lord showed signs and wonders great and sore upon Egypt and Pharaoh and all his household before our eyes. And he brought us out from thence, that he might bring us in to give us the land which he swore unto our fathers. And the Lord commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear the Lord our God for our good always, that he might preserve us alive, as it is in this day. And it shall be our righteousness, if we observe to do all the commandments before the Lord our God, as he hath commanded us. All right, we're on number 7, and we're going to do it tomorrow.